What's up, guys? It is Chris back for Watchchris. If you're not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. Hit that bell icon, and of course, liking this video if you find this video helpful or useful. I very much appreciate it. Today, we're talking about a watch that I've never featured here on my channel, and it kind of blows my mind that I've never actually featured an Alpinist. This is a Seiko Alpinist. This is the SPB377. It has a blue sunburst dial. The Alpinist in general, when you're talking about GMTs and field watches, always comes up as one of the best affordable GMTs or field watches. And there's a really good reason for that. It's inspired by the 1959 Alpinist, so it actually has some roots, it has some history, but it's also extremely functional with really great water resistance, really good looks, different functionality depending on the version you are looking at. Today we're looking at a GMT version with an inner rotating bezel. So let's flip the camera and take a look at a watch from Seiko, the Alpinist, the SPB377. So I had to actually look at my channel and see if I've ever featured an Alpinist here on Watchchris, and I have not, which is kind of crazy when I think about it. This is the SPB377. It's a GMT. It's an Alpinist from Seiko. It's from the Prospex line. One of their most famous GMTs, one of their most famous field watches. It's an Explorer style field watch. This one gets an inner rotating compass bezel. And like I said, it is a GMT, so it's powered by a 6R54, which is their newest mid-grade, I would say, GMT movement. It's an office GMT or a military GMT. So for a first Alpinist, I think this is a really good choice. You're getting a 24-hour fixed bezel that's just printed on with black. So the numerals on there are in black. You have a blue sunburst dial, an applied Seiko logo at the 12 o'clock. You have applied indices, and those are filled with Lumibrite. Of course, the hands are also filled with Lumibrite. You sort of have a cathedral hand and then a segmented, I guess you would call it a fence post hand with a needle tip. Not sure what you would actually call it. And then you have an arrow for a seconds hand. Again, that gets Lumibrite. There's more Lumibrite on that GMT hand, which is a red arrow. You have a screwed-in crown, screwed-in case back. You get to see that 6R54 from the case back. You get a sapphire crystal on the front. I believe on the back it's a Hardlex, and you get 200 meters of water resistance, which is really good for a field watch. Usually, typically, you're getting 100 meters of water resistance with your typical everyday field watch. So 200 meters of water resistance makes this a very rugged everyday watch. You do have two crowns, like I mentioned before. This screws in the crown at the 3 o'clock. It's a larger crown than the other crown. That is used for setting the time, setting the GMT. The GMT is set by that crown in the second position. In one direction, it sets the date. The other direction, it sets the GMT hand. That other crown, the smaller crown, is dimpled. So there's a little dimple in the crown. I'll do a close-up so you can see what I'm talking about. Is not screwed in, and you still get 200 meters of water resistance. And that rotates the bezel. You don't feel any clicks. It's a smooth moving bezel. And of course, it does line up because it is bidirectional and there is no click. So it lines up perfectly with that 12 o'clock index. And that is very, very good. At the very bottom of the dial, it basically tells you everything it can do. It says GMT, that's in red, matches that red tip of the GMT hand. Below that, it says automatic. 3 days, so 3-day power reserve automatic. So you're getting, I think, 70 hours or 72 hours from that 6R54. And then below that, it says 20 bar, obviously 200 meters of water resistance. So measurements on this watch are pretty good. If you like a watch around that 40 millimeter range, this wears like a 39 millimeter in my opinion. It measures in at 39 millimeters at the case, just about 39 millimeters. It's a little bit smaller at that bezel. That bezel does slope down, so it fits under a cuff pretty easily, and you do have a slightly raised flat sapphire crystal with pretty decent AR coating, as you can see in my studio lights. 13.5 millimeters thick. It's slightly thick for a field watch, but you do get that 200 meters of water resistance with that screwed-in crown, screwed-in case back, which is display, so that isn't all that bad. 46 millimeters on the lug-to-lug, and then those crowns, both of the crowns, even though they are different sizes, they're around 5.5 millimeters, somewhere in that range. You do get a blue leather strap on here, which is kind of interesting for Seiko. Usually they would go the black leather strap route. They usually do that just to satisfy everybody, but they put a blue, very, I would not say glossy, it's almost like a satin finish. There's no scaling or anything like that. There's no texture to it. So it's a very smooth leather that they chose to use. And then they give you your typical Seiko deploying clasp here, which is actually very nice. I remember I had a Sarb a very long time ago, had this buckle. Well made, actually. I have to say, Seiko have always done a good job with these buckles. And then you could see on the back of the watch, you could see that movement. You have a gold tone rotor, and then on the back Hardlex, again, I believe it is a Hardlex. It is signed with the Seiko logo and the Prospex logo. So this does fall into the Prospex range. You also get that Prospex logo on the dial. Some people do not like that. Of course, that is right below that Seiko logo, the applied Seiko logo at the 12 o'clock. Also, between the 4 and 5 o'clock position, you do get the date. It's a circular window that has a black background, but because this dial is pretty dark, it's a pretty dark blue, you can't tell that it's black. I think it looks pretty good. I don't know why they didn't put a blue background, but it does make it actually pretty legible. So this is a very legible date, although if you don't want to see it, it's really not very blaring that there's a date. Someone like me who doesn't like the date, not in your face. I have a watch that I just got back from service. It's my Urwerk 103 in white gold. This has broken twice in the past 6 months, and it had to be overhauled twice in the past 6 months. Review for this coming pretty soon. It's actually been in repair longer than I've actually had it, so that's the reason why I haven't done a review on it yet. There it is on my 7.5-inch wrist. This is a 39mm watch. It's around 46 millimeters lug to lug, and then a 13.5mm thick watch. Very popular with enthusiasts, especially Seiko enthusiasts, for good reason. It's a good looking watch at a very good price as well, even when considered in the Seiko realm of watches and their pricing structures, which is kind of crazy. This comes in at $1,150. You're getting that 6R movement inside, so the 6R54, which is their newest movement, their newest GMT movement. So really not that bad, considering recently I've featured a number of Seiko GMTs here on my channel featuring that movement that cost more money and in some cases have less water resistance. So that's pretty good. With all things considered, I think that's a very good price. It looks great on my 7.5-inch wrist. Tell me what you guys think down in the comments below. Very quickly, let's do a lume shot. Well, the indices are not actually filled with lume. However, there are plops of lume on the outer edge of that minute track, so you do have lume on that dial. It is liberally applied, so it is very bright. It's very, very bright on those hands because there's a lot of surface area on those hands, so the lume is very well applied there. You have lume on that GMT hand, and you have lume on that second hand. You can see that the watch is actually working in the dark. If you're interested in this watch, definitely check out exquisitetimepieces.com. I will put a link in the description. They also have that brick and mortar store down in Naples, Florida, and they have lots of watches. They have a lot of independent brands and major brands like Seiko, Grand Seiko, Longines, Omega, all that good stuff. So if you are interested in any of those brands, definitely check them out. Tell them that Watchchris sent you. I'll put Ethan's email down in the description as well. Anyway, guys, tell me what you think of this watch down in the comments below. I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of this watch and how it compares to other Seiko GMTs that they have come out with? Last year, a number of new GMTs came out featuring that 6R54. How do you think that this stacks up against them? I think a lot of people thought that this was the best GMT from Seiko last year. I have to agree, it is an amazing, amazing watch. I just wish it came on a bracelet. I know this could come on a bracelet, however, for this specific model, they did not make a bracelet, and usually it's an oyster style bracelet, which looks great. Tell me what you think down in the comments. Anyway, guys, thank you for logging on. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell icon, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.